Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good today. Just finishing up practice here at Lake Hartwell for the Bassmaster Open. Today was our last day of practice, getting ready for our meeting here in a little bit. Been working on tackle all afternoon, getting ready for the first day of the tournament tomorrow. Going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. It's been sort of a grind from what I can tell, but we got some cloudy weather coming in, a little bit more stable, warming up a little bit, so I look for the fishing to improve tomorrow. But anyway, I was sitting in the boat here working and was thinking about the next YouTube topic. And what I want to do today is I want to give you a little bit of a teaser for the Fish the Moment virtual advanced jerkbait fishing seminar that Johnny Schultz and I are going to have on October the 8th. This is going to be the most comprehensive jerkbait seminar probably ever put on. I'm going to be sharing 45 years of jerkbait experience with everybody. If you're interested, go to fishthemoment.com. Click on the virtual seminar page there and sign up. It's limited to 30 people. It's filling up fast. It's going to be a really good time. And we're also going to do more jerkbait seminars throughout the winter, covering a lot of different aspects. But this particular one we're doing is it's going to be, you know, really an interesting concept. So if you want to take your jerkbait fishing skills to the next level, sign up. But anyway, I wanted to share with you a little bit of appetizer. I'm not going to give everything away, but I want to share a little appetizer for, you know, what you can expect in the seminar. And today's topic, that appetizer is what I feel is the #1 most important foundation in your jerkbait fishing to get the most out of the bait, and that's the rod and reel setup that you're going to use. Now, I've fished jerkbaits, like I've talked before, for over 45 years. I've experimented with every setup you can imagine: lines, rods, reels, actions, that type of stuff. And about probably 10 years ago, maybe more than that, maybe 12, 15, no, but probably about 15 years ago, I figured out that the best setup to throw a jerkbait on was a spinning rod. And I want to cover this, and I'll debate this with anybody. Even if you're a great jerkbait fisherman, I'll debate the fact that a spinning rod is the best outfit to throw a jerkbait on. And before I get into that, I want to say that I do that 95% of the time. Throw a jerkbait on a spinning rod 95% of the time. The only 5% that I don't is if I'm fishing around like really shallow grass or shallow objects like wood, dock pilings, that type of stuff, where I only want the bait to get down just a couple feet and the area is known to have big fish and off-colored water. Sometimes I'll go to a bait cast rod with 20-pound test line to keep that bait super high. And if I do get a bite, I know I got to get the bite out of the heavy cover. So sometimes, and that's not very many times, that's, like I said, 5% of the time at the most. But the rest of the time I'm using the spinning rod. What I want to do is I want to go over and explain to you why here real quick. This is the rod and setup that I use 95% of the time for my jerkbait fishing. It's a Megabass Oroshi whip snake. It's a 6-foot 11-inch medium action rod, and that is so critical as far as the action of your rod. One of the reasons I like the whip snake and the medium action of it is the medium action is really the medium action and the right tip in a rod is super critical to get the right action out of your bait. And this is particularly true when you're fishing colder water jerkbait situations where the fish are suspended and you sort of have to finesse them a little bit. That medium action tip allows you to be super diverse on how you can work the bait. You can work the bait with quick snaps, you can slow pull, you can barely twitch it. There's a lot you can do with it. And when that fish bites it, that medium action tip, it loads up a little bit to gives you a little bit of hesitation where you don't pull the fish out of that, pull the hooks out of that fish's mouth, which is very common with a lot of guys that use bait cast outfits. Secondly, you know, the length of the rod is pretty critical. I don't like a 7-foot rod, even though 6'11", this is pretty close. I like to go under 7 feet on my rod, simply because, again, it gives you a better feel, it gives you better bait manipulation, but you still have a long enough rod to make a super long cast. And with a spinning rod, I can promise you, if you're standing in the front of the boat with me and you've got your #1 bait cast setup, all set up, that I can outcast you by at least 20 feet with a spinning rod. You can make a longer cast with it, and you can also make a more controlled, longer cast if the wind's blowing. You know, a lot of times these jerk baits catch a lot of wind. They're like casting a potato chip a lot of times. And if I'm fishing a day that's got 20-mile-an-hour winds, I can make those casts, you know, at 45-degree angles into the wind if I have to, or whatever, and not have the backlash concern, and I can get more distance out of it. You simply cannot cast as far with a bait caster and a jerk bait in windy conditions unless you're casting downwind as you can with a spinning rod. You simply cannot be doing it. The real setup I got is the Lew's TLC 3000. It's a large diameter spool, and that's what you want. You need a large diameter spool on your spinning reel simply because it'll allow you to make those longer casts. And another big reason why I use a spinning outfit is it allows you to go with light line. 85% of the time, 85% of the time, I'm fishing my jerk baits on 6 to 8 pound test line, and I prefer 6 simply because I can get more depth out of it. And you simply can't cast a bait on 6 pound test line, a jerk bait with 6 pound test line on a bait caster very well. It's just not a real efficient way to do it. So the spinning rod allows me to get that 6 pound test down. And this doesn't even matter, even if I am fishing, you know, some type of, even if I'm fishing a larger jerk bait, you know, I still use, you know, this, you know, the 6 pound test line. I just like the feel of that, you know, a lot better. So anyway, just a little bit of tidbit here. You know, we're gonna go into this a lot more. There's a lot of other aspects of the equipment and the rod and reel to consider when you're, you know, making your setup for jerkbait fishing, but we're gonna cover that in a lot of the Fish the Moment video, excuse me, the Fish the Moment virtual seminar that we're going to do. Go on fishthemoment.com, sign up for it. It's going to be really cool, and I'm just going to unload on a bunch of great jerkbait tips and secrets and everything in that seminar. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get back out a little bit more tackle to work on here. Hopefully we can get out tomorrow on Lake Hartwell and get a good start for the tournament. Thanks for following me, everybody. I really appreciate it, man. I've had, at this tournament, I've had probably over a dozen people now come up to me and just, you know, they just are saying how much they like Fish the Moment, what we're doing with it, the videos, and man, I really appreciate that. I mean, I can't tell you how much, you know, that means to me to have you all follow me and support me with that. And like I said, if you got any comments, you want me to you know, go over anything in these videos, shoot me a message. I'm getting a lot of messages now. I read them all. You know, I don't have time a lot of times to respond to everything, but I read them and I really appreciate that. So anyway, gonna get back after here. Like I said, thanks for tuning in, and we'll check in later. See you.